The family photo that was taken 6 years after everyone in the house died. You want to know the kind of thing that makes your blood go cold before your mind even understands it? It was the photo, just one photo. That was all it took. One glossy, smiling family portrait dated October 31st, 2019. Even though every person in it had already been dead since November 14th, 2013. My name is Lena Brooks, and I was 17 years old when I saw it with my own eyes in Black Hollow, Vermont, a dying little town where people kept their curtains shut before sunset and never asked questions they were too afraid to hear answered. The house belonged to the Wainwright family, Elias Wainwright, his wife Maribel, and their 2 children, Rose, 11, and Daniel, 8. Everybody in Black Hollow knew what happened to them. Police said it was a carbon monoxide leak. Quiet, accidental, tragic. 4 bodies found around the dinner table. Candles burned down to wax, food untouched. The father's hand still resting on a camera tripod, like he had been about to take a family picture before the gas took them all. That was the official story. But old people in town said something different. They said Elias had become obsessed with keeping the family together. He was a photographer, but not the normal kind. He hated candid moments, hated change, hated the way children grew, how faces aged, how people drifted. He wanted permanence. He wanted smiles that never moved. A frozen family, a perfect frame. Neighbors heard him shouting at night, begging Maribel not to leave him, screaming that if they couldn't stay together in life, then he would fix it another way. Then, 1 week before they died, he boarded up the back room and blacked out the windows. He told the grocery clerk he was building a dark room for eternity. Nobody checked. 6 years later, I checked because I was stupid, curious, and young enough to think fear was exciting. My friend Nora Bell dared me to sneak into the Wainwright house the night before Halloween. She waited outside. I went in alone, with a flashlight and my phone. The front door was already cracked open. That should have been my first sign. The air inside was wrong. Not dusty, not rotten, just still, like the whole house had been holding its breath since 2013. Family portraits covered the walls, but every single face had its eyes scratched out except Elias. In every frame, his smile remained. I found the photo upstairs in the master bedroom. It was sitting on the dresser like it had just been developed. Clean, new, no dust. In it, the Wainwrights were standing in their living room in matching black clothes. Elias was smiling. Maribel's head tilted too far to one side. Rose's mouth was stretched wide, wider than any child could naturally smile. Daniel's eyes looked swollen and dark, like someone had painted over them. Behind them, hanging on the wall, was a calendar opened to October 2019. I remember dropping the flashlight. I remember the crack of plastic hitting the floor. And I remember what happened next because it still wakes me up at 3:12 a.m. A camera flashed behind me, not in the photo, in the room. I turned so fast I nearly broke my neck. And there, near the bedroom door, was an old tripod with a camera mounted on it. It had not been there when I walked in. I know it had not. The shutter clicked again by itself. Then again, rapid, violent. Like someone was taking burst photos of me while I stood there frozen. On the 4th flash, I saw them. Not clearly, just enough. A woman's outline near the curtains, 2 smaller shapes by the bed, and a man standing closest to me, one hand raised like he was directing us into position. The smell hit me then. Burned gas, spoiled meat, and something wet underneath it. Like soil dug from a grave. I heard a little girl whisper right beside my ear, "Don't move." Daddy hates blurry pictures. I ran. I should tell you I made it out clean, but that would be a lie. When I got outside, Nora was gone. Her bike was still in the grass, tipped over, front wheels spinning. I screamed until the sheriff came. They searched the woods, the road, the riverbank. No Nora, no footprints, no drag marks, nothing. Just my phone lying near the porch steps. And on my phone was a new image that I never took. It was a family portrait, standing in front of the Wainwright house, were Elias, Maribel, Rose, Daniel, and me. I was in the far left corner, pale and stiff, my mouth pulled into a smile I know I did not make. And next to me, holding my hand, was Nora, except her eyes were completely black. The timestamp on the image read 11:14 p.m., October 30th, 2009. Printed in the bottom corner in Elias Wainwright's handwriting were the words, "Now the frame is complete." The police took my statement. They took my phone. They sealed the house again. 3 days later, the evidence locker burned. Just one room, nothing else. My phone, the photo, and every record connected to the Wainwright case were destroyed. Officially, Nora Bell is still a missing person. Officially, the 2013 deaths were still an accident. But last winter, a package arrived at my apartment in Burlington with no return address. Inside was a single, developed photograph, a new family portrait. The Wainwrights, Nora, me, and in the front row, a little girl I had never seen before. She was smiling at the camera. On the back, in fresh ink, it said, "Make room, we're still growing." Follow Dark Horror Evidence for more.